afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's Tuesday Times Roundtable. Today's session is in celebration of Women History Month. The title of the session is InnovatHER, Women Leading Innovation in Technology. We would like to welcome everyone to today's Tuesday Times Roundtable. The Tuesday Times Roundtable are the Office of Global Learning Initiatives flagship discussion series that brings together multiple perspectives on global issues and trends. All Tuesday Times Roundtables, they get recorded, so we're just going to ask you that if you would like to engage in today's conversation, so you have questions for the panelists, just to raise your hand. And we're going to have a couple of microphones around the floor area so we can capture your contributions in the recording. If you didn't get a chance to sign in, this is the QR code for you to sign in. So just make sure that you scan it so that way we can also record your attendance. And the Office of Global Learning Initiatives has also different programs that we offer to undergraduate students, including the Global Learning Medallion, Peace Corps Prep, and also scholarships and fellowships. You may learn more about it at go.fiu.edu/students. Today's topic also is connected to a news article. The article is actually from a different site. You may access the article at go.fiu.edu/TTR0310. This is to continue the discussion and then also for you to learn more about the top most influential women in technology. We're also connecting the Tuesday Times Roundtable to the Sustainable Development Goals. Today's goal, it is going to be number 5, gender equality. Which is by achieving gender equality and empowering all women and girls. All right, so now I'm going to introduce the director for the Women's Center, the program director, Ms. Brittany Davis. She earned a PhD in higher education here from FIU, where her research focused on institutional non-performative in response to the national racialized incidents and practices of anti-Blackness within higher education. Dr. Davis also holds a Master's in Science and International and Intercultural Education and a graduate certificate in African and African Diaspora Studies at FIU. Her work is about advocating for gender equity, accessibility, and the representation of higher education to support students' transitions, success, and achievement. And her scholarship explores student support services, Black girlhood studies, Black women in academy, and then also the Black feminine hip-hop culture. Please give her a big round of applause to welcome Ms. Davis.
Thank you. All right, so excited for this particular session. We've had the pleasure of partnering with our amazing colleagues in global learning for, I think, 3 years now. So it's always amazing to highlight all the things that women are doing, all the spaces that women continue to take up. Not just in tech, we've done sports, we've looked at women across the globe. So it's been an amazing journey to highlight and to acknowledge amazing women here at FIU as well as abroad. So I'm going to start with introductions for our amazing moderator, Ashley, and then read the bios for our panelists. We are still waiting for one panelist, but I will still honor her. She is on the way to read her particular bio. So first, for Ashley, who's been an amazing partner in putting all this together, Ashley Prado is a proud Latina immigrant, first-generation student pursuing a bachelor's in computer science and a master's in data science and AI at Florida International University. She is an honors college student, vice president of the Society of Women Engineers at FIU, and a senator for the College of Engineering and Computing, advocating for equity and access for underrepresented students. Wow. Let's give Ashley a hand. All right. So Coral, make sure I spelled Meniel is a computer science senior at Florida International University, graduating spring 2026, so congratulations. Born in the Dominican Republic, she's a content creator and founder who blends technical skills with storytelling. Amazing. She built Fix Your Feed, a platform that helps students discover high quality content on LinkedIn, which gained 3,000 visits in its first 48 hours. So let's give a hand for Coral. All right, Samantha Fernandez is a Miami native and FIU 2021 alum with over 6 years of experience in the tech industry. As a product manager at Microsoft, she builds AI-powered experiences that make complex technology more accessible for developers. Her career spans iconic brands including Disney Plus and American Express. Outside of work, she is the founder of Gables Run Club, a growing community in Coral Gables dedicated to bringing runners of all levels together. Let's give a hand for Samantha. All right, so I want to also, our panelists that we're waiting on. So Paris Jones is a respected thought leader, career strategist, and public speaker with more than 15 years of experience advancing women and underrepresented talent in technology and innovative focused fields. She has delivered impactful keynotes, panels, and workshops at institutions and conferences, including Georgia Institute of Technology, Florida Polytechnic University, Polk State College, Spelman College, and the Alpha Phi Alpha National Conference, among others. So thank you to all our panelists, and I'll pass it to our amazing student Ashley to get started with the questions. Thank you all.
Thank you all for being here today. I'm completely honored to be your moderator today, and here we have some of the most inspiring women that I have had the honor to meet during my journey here at FIU. So we are super excited to have this conversation with you guys. We want to make this really interactive. So if you have any question that you want to ask, don't feel scared to raise your hand, and we can include you in the conversation. So to get started, girls, I wanted to ask, as an InnovatHER, because you girls are always innovating daily, in your journeys, in your jobs, in FIU and outside of FIU, redefining industry culture, what is one non-technical process or norm you have personally changed or championed to make your workplace more inclusive?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me and inviting me on the panel. It means a lot to be invited, and also give yourselves a round of applause for coming here and spending your lunchtime to learn, because for me that tells me that you're the kind of student who cares about their career growth, you care about women's advancement, and that means a lot. And so when you're going into spaces like a corporate job and you're trying to advocate for women inside your corporate job, one thing that's helped me the most is being like a cheerleader for your friends who are not in the room. So for example, I will say like a classroom example, if you have a friend that's really good at something and you know someone who can help them get a job there, then just give a referral to that person. Be like, hey, I know this girl, she's really good at data science. You should, like introduce them to that. One way I've seen, like throughout my internship, I did a product management internship at UKG. And one of the things we did as interns was like programs for interns to get together and meet each other. And the person leading that needed help promoting the events that were happening to the interns. And I'm like, oh, I'm more than happy to help promote that. And so I was able to help one of the program managers, one of her events for that internship. So really be an advocate for your friends who are not in the room, because that will speak highly not just of yourself, but also you're helping out your community at the same time.
Awesome. Thank you, Coral. And Samantha?
Yeah.
So kind of following up on what you said there, Coral, like for me in the workplace itself, I think that's a quality that people actually want you to have, like being very open to working with different styles and approaches, different personalities of folks. So I think that like just being open and being like, giving people the benefit of the doubt, not assuming, defensiveness on the first instance that something doesn't seem right, like making sure that people feel included in all your projects. Like for instance, in my case, I'm a product manager, so I work with engineers, I work with designers, different subject matter experts. And my job is to always make sure that they feel included in all my different meetings and projects and different things. So I work with many different personalities, and I think having, those characteristics that Coral was referring to helps a lot in making sure that the work feels, like impactful and also not frictionless, pretty much, and that helps a lot. So yeah, that's the non-technical part aspect of it. Yeah.
Thank you both
Yeah.
for being advocates for women in STEM, again, not only in FIU, but also in the industries, always giving referrals, always recommending people that might not be in the room, but that you are able to include them. That's really powerful, and that's really having a difference. So my next question is, women in tech often feel pressure to overextend themselves to prove their value. And I think that that happens to a lot of us often when we start a new job, a new industry, a new something. And we often feel this pressure to try to be the best that we can. Can you share an example of when setting a boundary made you stronger or more effective as a leader, and how students can begin practicing sustainable habits early in their careers?
So this is something that took me a couple years to learn. When I first got into Microsoft, that was very much me. Working from 8 a.m. all the way till 6 p.m. or even 6:30 p.m., well into the evening every single day, moving to a new state, living in Washington without the sun and everything, or my community that I was surrounded by, it was really easy to forget about taking care of myself and then overexerting myself at work. And then also people taking advantage of me at work in terms of, oh, like your output, is like at level 150%, like that's gonna be your output always. So I was setting, that high bar always, every single day. So something that I learned recently was the boundary that I set was, I need to have a life outside of work, right? And in my bio, that's why I made sure to give a mention to my run club that I started, because now I feel like because I'm investing in that outside of work, I'm able to show up as more of a leader at work because I'm investing into myself by following that passion. So it's like anything that you do outside of school is transferable to your work, to your career, whatever you end up doing, right? Like those internships, anything that you do, or even like extracurricular activities, that all translates into whatever you end up doing in your career and at work. So it's like, this is something my career coach told me. She was saying that like your internal world is or in your career and everything related to your career is an external manifestation of how you are on the inside. So the more you take note and actually listen to what's going on. Am I taking care of myself outside of work? Am I ending work at a reasonable time? Am I exercising? Am I eating right? That pays dividends to your work. That's not a distraction from work. Like saying, stopping, sleeping, like resting is a great return on investment, and you'll probably get promoted for that. So, so that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
Yeah, for me, I can only speak about from like the student experience perspective. I remember a lot of times when I was like in undergrad, like I did a lot. And like sometimes I did go a little bit overkill in like campus involvements, internships, and I was obsessed because it feels like a little game, right? And so freshman year, I felt this like immense pressure to feel like, oh my gosh, I need to get the Google internship or the Microsoft internship. If I don't get it, then I'm like, we have like this term in computer science, cooked, which basically means like, oh, you're not gonna get it. And every semester, like I remember just trying to be a part of this thing or try to be a part of that thing. And I thought that that meant that I was good enough if I was a part of one thing. But I'm a very like entrepreneurial person, and I've seen that not just in my content, but also in choosing product management and being a founder, that like my way of like going into places is like I'm looking at the problems and I just want to like fix everything. And I realized that college is the place for you to play around with your strengths and to also have the chance to practice ownership. And the moment I realized that, okay, maybe I don't need the title of like a Google intern or a Microsoft intern to prove that I'm good enough. I can just build it myself. And so like, and this is coming from someone who like has been through the interview rounds of these companies like 3 times, and I'm still going at it. I'm like, I'm inspired by her. She interviewed at Microsoft 7 times before she got in. So I'm just like, okay, 3, I have 4 more to go. But essentially meaning that just because you don't get the internship that you want does not mean that you're not valuable, and you can create that value for yourself, and that makes you a much more valuable candidate. I like to have the mindset of I'd rather be the startup that got acquired than like the employee trying to like beg to get in. Like if you have like your own company, your own Instagram page, your own project, your own group, you're showcasing not just your leadership, but the results that you can implement yourself. And it's much easier to convince someone that you're a valuable employee if you already have something of yourself. And that doesn't mean that any other company is bad. It just gives you that chance to be an owner and to be a leader and to showcase that you are good enough, and you don't need the title or a brand to tell you that. Like, you are good enough on your own. Yeah. I know that was a little long. Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing, Coral and Samantha. And I think something that you both mentioned is the importance of community. Both of you, whether it's through your running club or whether it's through building your own things as a startup, it's about community. How can we help our community here at FIU outside? So I want to ask you, what role has community played in your journey? And what are the things that you take every day to give back?
So I've been super involved on campus, and I've seen the growth of not just like some of the biggest campus organizations like INIT and WIX and Society of Women Engineers, just grow as an organization, but also to be able to contribute to it. And so I will say that like the technical campus organizations are super helpful. I remember my first like time I went to like a UPE meeting, well, like that was it. There was this guy, his name was Raul Faifa, and he just finished his like Microsoft internship, and he told me like, oh, like you're a freshman, like you can apply to this internship and you can actually do this, da, 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 da. And for me, that showed me like, wow, like this person's not gatekeeping information, but they're actually helping me. And that inspired me so much to start teaching people online about recruitment. I've now gained over like 5,000 followers on LinkedIn, and I've been a former career advisor for engineering students, trying to help as many people as possible, because the special thing about not just the Miami community, but the FIU community is that we're all international. And like I tell people, don't tell me I'm from Florida. I'm from Miami, okay? Like, we are first generation. We are representatives of our countries. There's probably, you have like a cousin from your country, whether that's Venezuela, El Salvador, Dominican Republic, that's like, oh my God, you made it. You're in the United States. But I'm like, yes, I'm in the United States, but I'm happy to say I'm in the United States con un poco de sazón, where there's other people who have probably been through that same experience with you, of coming to this country, of knowing different languages, and also trying to go through recruitment at the same time, that can understand your precision. And I think that it's such a privilege to be like in FIU, because you will not find this in any other city in the US. And so that's why I feel so grateful for FIU, because I really found so many great, inspiring individuals that will motivate you not just to go after your dreams, but to show you that you can also be yourself through that process. I know this is a long answer.
That was beautiful. I think like following up on what you said there, for me, community, the question was, what does community mean to you? And then how do you contribute to that every day? I think that not only the Run Club, that's one way, obviously, but since I graduated, right, I've been that person that's given out maybe over 100 referrals to people at Microsoft, and like students and people that reach out to me on LinkedIn. It's like, you can reach out to me right now and I'll check and I'll help you with your resume, So that's like one of the tangible ways that I consistently continue to help the people of my community and give back to this community, because honestly, when I moved away to Washington to go work out, to go start my career over there at Microsoft, I learned what I missed so much. I missed the familiarity of having my Sazon community.
Yes.
Like I missed all of that, and it's a very when you think about your career, and this might little bit of a tangent, but when you think about your career, think about where are you going and do you have a community there? Or if you don't, try to make one yourself, right? Try to build one yourself. Like one of my friends there built her own community called Latinas and Lattes because there was such a lack of Latinos, in tech that just didn't know each other. Yeah. And she just went ahead and had the initiative to just let me make my own community because I'm missing my own from my hometown. So that's another way to show up as a leader, not only in your new community, but also at work. And these are all transferable things. So again, it's just making yourself available, showing up, and offering value to the people around you. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Coral. You both mentioned something important, and it's adaptability. You both mentioned, for example, moving to a different city. You mentioned being outside of your comfort zone because sometimes here, yes, we have Miami, we have Cafecito, we know everybody here, everybody is so nice. But sometimes when we need to step out of our comfort zone, it can be really challenging. So now I want to ask you, do you have any advice for stepping out of your comfort zone, for confronting new realities that you haven't been used to? For example, when you started your first internship and everything was unfamiliar to you, how did you approach those challenges, and what advice can you share with our students today?
I think I can answer a little bit of it. But when I did my first internship, for instance, I had to go to North Carolina, and that was a pretty isolating place as well. But I think that what I learned was, I got myself online and I just started looking up local events. And honestly, the minute I started doing that, it's just showing up was enough to meet new people. At least, let's go to Dave & Buster's and meet this new community of folks, or different little events that were happening in the area. That helped me just meet new people, attend events, and then not feel as lonely because you're just alone in your apartment and dealing with your career and stuff. So I would say it's if you're introverted, I know it's a little bit hard, but now with tech, I feel there's no excuse. Oh, we have our other, yay, she made it. Okay. But yeah, I think you probably had some notes on that.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Please give a welcome to our next panelist, Paris. And right now we are continuing the discussion.
Pardon the tardiness. 3.5-hour drive.
That's Miami traffic.
Worth it. Worth it.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so honored to have you with us today, and we're so happy to continue the conversation. Right now, we were talking a little bit about adaptability, how it is when you start in a new place, in a new workplace, in a new job that you are not really used to, when you need to step out of your comfort zone. And they were just giving us some advice about how they have faced that in their daily lives. And if Coral wants to share some pointers, yes?
Yeah, I'm happy to go next. I think that when I was in my Dell internship, I was in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, which is Miami is Sazon, Cafecito, everybody knows each other. Boston, that's America. I was oh, I'm in America now. And when I was in my internship, there was only 2 female engineers on my team, which was me and the other intern, and I was the only Latina on my team, and I was just okay, I need to get it together. But one thing that helped me stay, feeling I belonged was also going to my faith community. So I'm Christian, so I go to church, and that helped me so much because one thing about Boston is that there is a lot of Dominicans there, and I got connected to a church there, and that helped me, be stable in this software engineering job while I'm miles away from my hometown, and also taking the initiative to build community within our intern class. So we had the interns about to start, and they're we don't have a group chat. And so I took the initiative of hey guys, I made this group me. And so we made a group chat, and we were putting in Boston recommendations. We were putting in events that were happening. I even hosted a potluck in my Dell apartment, which was was beautiful. I think please go into the tech industry. It's very comfortable there. But it was just so nice to see that, like, I was showing people, like, hey, this is a part of my culture. I was showing them like foods from Dominican Republic, and they're like, wow, I've never tried this before. Like, I had one guy from, I think, from some part of Asia, and he's like, oh, I like this. It's very flavorful. I'm just like, you need to come to Miami. We have more where that came from. And so you can go to these corporate spaces, which might be more American, and still be yourself. Obviously, like, don't, like, there's a place for things that you do at home and a place for things that you do in corporate, but you can still show elements of your culture, of who you are, because that also, the values that you have in your family and the person that you are going to be carried with you your whole life, including your career. And so that's how I've been able to build community in uncomfortable situations.
Thank you so much, Coral. That's beautiful. And we are so happy that you were able to share your culture. I think that that's the main way of us doing so, is just bringing little parts of ourselves and don't being shy of being who you are. And Paris, if you have any other advice that you will give our students that are facing unfamiliar situations or situations when they are put in an uncomfortable spot.
Absolutely. I want everyone to fully understand that who you are authentically is a gift to the world. Never go into spaces feeling like you need to compromise that. And like Caroline Wanga always says, who you are is non-negotiable. Please, please, please show up as your full self, because you allow others to do the same. Once again, you are a gift to the world. Don't modify who you are. Like this beautiful woman showed up. She shared a very intimate part of herself in a work environment that probably helped build trust. When we're in the tech space, it's a lot of collaboration. And not just with people in your offices, but some international offices. And so building that trust and that foundation is imperative. And allowing yourself to be vulnerable creates that. These ladies have added already, but I just wanted to share that and make sure I put additional emphasis on that.
Thank you, Paris. That's beautiful. And really quick, I wanted to open up the floor for questions. Does anybody has any question that they would like to share right now with our panelists? Yes?
Hi, thank you so much for being here. I was a little late, but my question would be just based on the last conversation, is that if you feel like that being yourself at a workplace or bringing your culture in is not accepted or like received in like a negative way, maybe, what can you do?
Yes, Paris?
I love that question. So one thing that I used to talk to my remarkable students about is making sure that you have a network and an ecosystem outside of your place of work. So when we go to work, we go there to make money and a difference. We don't go there to find friends. And if you find that that workspace does not accept all of who you are, you show up to get the job done. And then if you find that that's something that you need to grow and evolve as a professional, begin to look for spaces that will accept all of who you are. Salesforce is a remarkable place to work. Their work culture is fabulous. I think the theme is, Hannah. I mean, they are really big on, not that I'm here to pitch Salesforce, but once again, if you have already assessed the organizational culture and you find that that's something that's not going to be well received, go there, you work, do what you need to do, and leave. And you build your ecosystem and that community outside of your place of work. And I just want to put additional emphasis on this. Even when you're working and everyone is experiencing the same challenges and struggles, that's not a place to discuss your frustration. I don't care if people are smiling with you and like, yeah, don't you hate this? Just respond politically correct. It's a part of the process. And honestly, because people will take your words and use them against you. So when we're venting about what's going on in our place of work, it's not healthy. And I don't care if they always say, oh, you just have nothing to say. Well, I've never, been the CEO of a tech company. I'm just happy to contribute. This is a part of the process, I'm assuming. And then you can call your friends and say, girl, they're crazy. Giving us all these deliverables, want us to do it in 10 minutes. What's going on with them? But once again, have that divide, please. It's the best thing you can do for yourself.
I just wanted to add on to that like I have an example from one of my Dominican friends at work, actually. She used to work at Alaska Airlines, and it was a fantastic job. She's a UX designer, and she built the whole front end for the Alaska Airlines app. And she was experiencing a lot of issues with her coworkers, like saying things about her hair and like saying just, mean things, right? And that was something she realized that she didn't want to like stay there for that, even though it was a life-changing, project and career. She knew that she could like transfer that wherever else and find that experience somewhere else where her culture and her community is accepted as well. So she ended up going to Microsoft, and there we have, Ola. Ola is a ERG that we have for Latinos. She joined that, and now she was doing interviews with she was doing interviews with like these big tech people in tech, and basically, long story short, she's thriving now. So it's like, it's okay to leave and don't feel like you're, there's golden handcuffs or something. That's like a very common thing in the tech industry, but it's okay to leave, especially if there's something wrong and not clicking with your career at the time. So especially your environment and the people you work with. So yeah.
I want to add just like one more last thing to add on to both of these beautiful ladies. I know in like full-time corporate, it's like a different ball game than like intern corporate. I have this like, if you feel frustrated, like in any situation, love, I have a 5-step before you crash out. Did you pray? Did you drink water? Did you go on a walk? Did you talk to your therapist? Did you journal about it? Unless you do those 5 things, don't make any reactions. I think that having healthy coping mechanisms for things that happen to you without you messing up your reputation or messing up relationships at work, it helps a lot. I know FIU has a couple resources. They have CAPS. There's also different like advisors and like people, like there's money, like you pay tuition for a reason, and there's so many like cool random things here at FIU that like help students. And so you should definitely like look into different ways for you to cope outside of just venting to coworkers. Yeah.
First and foremost, I would like to thank all of you for taking the time to be here. I have 2 questions. One, could you repeat that 5-step plan?
Oh, yes, yes. Did you pray? Did you drink water? Did you go on a walk? Did you talk to your therapist about it? And did you journal? Unless you do those 5 things, you're not allowed to crash out.
Great advice.
My question kind of stems from what you guys were talking about earlier and having to leave the environment. Have you guys, because I'm a political science major, so I'm viewing this from like a policy perspective. You could also say societal too. Is there a way in which you think change that into making the workplace more accepting and a place where you don't have to leave, but that, again, more accepting?
Okay.
No.
Yeah, you can go ahead, Barry.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're assessing that particular work environment, I need you to be extremely honest with yourself about operations. And sometimes there are people who create a culture who are in leadership, and until they leave, that's going to fester. It's almost like a cancer that spreads. And if you realize that maybe that's not the situation, maybe it's just awareness. Have a conversation with the human resource department. See if there are programs in place that just haven't been activated as of yet. Maybe there's funding set aside to really engage employees to connect, but always have that moment of honesty with yourself about what it is you're dealing with. Because sometimes culture is a direct result of leadership.
I like this phrase of like, I only eat ripe mangoes. And so there's going to be fruit that's just not ready yet, that's not ready to eat. And like, it's not my job to wait until that is ready. I could just go to the tree that already has ripe mangoes. And if the farmer is doing a bad job, then like, I cannot, like, you only have so much time in your life, right? And change takes time. Unless you're like really passionate about it, unless you're getting paid as a consultant to do this. If you're not getting paid as an HR consultant for this company, then go where the ripe mangoes are.
You know, that's a great point too, but that's not always the case for a lot of people though.
Oh yeah.
Like I have friends that are H-1B visas, right? So they're locked in, right? So for those friends, I actively mentor them. And what I tell them is, you know, like you said, it's like, what are all the different options that we can like tap into outside of work and not just at work that could help us, you know, help you feel unstuck and not so like depressed about work. And because it's one of those things where it's like they have to kind of be there. And how do you make it work, right? And I think we had like this game plan that we ended up going to Samba classes after work together. And it was the best thing. We ended up doing a performance together and all these different things. And it all came from it actually all stemmed from me being vulnerable and open and honest with her, asking her, you know, how can I help you? Like, what can we do so you don't feel so stuck? And again, that goes back to, oh my God, sorry. That goes back to being open and adaptable and curious at work and like being that person at work that's very, you know, like, how do you say, like, easy to engage with, right? And that whole side quest wouldn't have happened for me if I hadn't been open to that. So for those folks, right, engaging in those other ERGs, other programs, communities, and then or changing internally, right? Like switching teams internally is a different option. Switching to a leader that advocates for you, someone that has the same or similar experiences to you internally. So that's a different option as well. Yeah.
Thank you. We have another question over there, sir.
If you wanted to add to that, please.
Really quick ad, because I'm loving all the ideas. And this is keeping me in the mindset of a student. Yeah. So in our major, we will take prerequisite courses. Some of those courses we do not like. We're trying to figure out who created this curriculum and why. But we know the end goal, right? And so if you are in a situation where you're on a visa and you are stuck at this place of work, you can think of it as the prerequisite, right? This is the prerequisite course. I'm just trying to create the quality of life that I want. And then you use your resources from this place of work to create that community, to invest in the lives of others, to get involved in activities that make you feel fulfilled. Because at the end of the day, it's just a tool. You still in control of your life. Don't forget to pray now. All right.
So, advice or insight, is that okay? Yeah. Advice or insight, because I hear where there might be like two conflicting ideas here, right? The first one where vulnerability and connection is kind of required to get you through and get through an issue like this, but then also be careful who you share your words with and how you say them, because they can be used against you. So like these two things are in direct conflict with each other. If somebody wanted to express some vulnerability to someone that they think might be safe, what advice would you have for them to navigate it? And then the opposite, what kinds of things are kind of red flags that we might observe of those around us, that they might be going through something, but they don't feel comfortable expressing it, and we might be able to be, like Samantha said, that outreach, right? That someone, and maybe that's a great place to start. Like, what was it that you observed of your colleague that made you say, hey, this is an appropriate place for me to reach out to them?
Yeah, so you guys are kind of learning how I am now, right? I'm just myself, right? And I think that anytime that I guess like we ever hung out, or I guess when I say hang out, I mean at work. Like I was just generally just amicable and open and cordial, and I guess all those just like easygoing things, I guess. When I hear the word red flags, I think about people talking about other people's like business to me, right? But you know what I mean? That's how I know that like, oh, I should not, definitely should not share anything with this person. But her, I think I noticed that like, I started to notice that they were like less engaged with like the different morale events and stuff happening at work. Wasn't showing up to certain things, even though like she was like a senior. And I just noticed that like, I guess I noticed those things, right? Not everyone is emotionally in tune, I guess. And that's just, I don't know how you can teach that. It's just generally being curious outside of work, right? Because I care more about the human aspects of my job rather than all the technical stuff. And I'm surprised we didn't even talk about that. Because I was ready to talk about like AI and the new skills or whatever. But I'm like, honestly, at the end of the day, the trend is that like, what matters more is your human skills, right? Like your ability to care and have empathy and that sort of thing. And that directly translates to how I show up creating products for people, because I'm creating products so people can use them. So honestly, the same way you can just tell when someone is kind of sad or stuck, and then eventually admitting that, oh, I feel a little bit like I've been on the same project for 3 years now, like, and I kind of read into those things when people say that. It's like, I can tell there's more to that, but I'm not going to pry. So, let's go to a baseball game. Let's go do this, like things to distract. So you can also do that without having to pry about people's information too, right? You don't have to like be like, tell me everything that happened. And, so I would say I don't know if that answers your question, but I was just emotionally in tune, with my team.
Yeah, I think for me, how I interpreted that question is like, who are the people who are like our safe spaces, who are safe for us to be vulnerable, and who are the people that you can avoid those conversations with? Because it is valuable to share yourself and be yourself, but because it's valuable, like you need to protect those valuable things. Right? Like there's a reason why we have locks. There's a reason why we have security, because we need to protect those valuable things. I think safe people for you to be like vulnerable with. I like to say like people that like for example, if I was in like an internship at UKG, and then I had like a friend of mine we literally had like classes together here at FIU, and now we're interning together. That's someone I can trust because they know me, they've seen me, we've worked on projects together. That's like someone who's like a coworker, but also someone that knows me. Someone who is like, who doesn't know you and also is like spreading gossip, or like how Samantha said, if this is a person that's showing me how they talk about other people, they're probably gonna do that to me. And so I would avoid those people. If you want to like vent, like a therapist, a pastor, your mom, your friend, those are completely safe. So that's for me on my end.
Great responses, ladies. Definitely. To answer your question from the way that I also interpret it, I want you to assess whether or not the environment is something that lends itself to your vulnerability, right? Every work environment is different. Every organizational culture is completely different. So at one company, Salesforce, you may be able to really just be yourself and shine, and it's wonderful. But maybe at Vanguard Investment Firm, it's just not the place for you. And I do have a student who was working there as a software developer at Vanguard, and he had a group of friends who got close to him to get information. They got the information, pitched his ideas as their own, and he called me and he was like, I thought that they were my friends. Like, we went bowling, they came to my place. Like, I really thought that these were my people. And I apologized. I said, baby, I'm so sorry I failed you. I didn't teach you about workplace politics. I am so sorry. And the truth is, we will work with unhealthy human beings who have their own agendas. And I encourage you to assess how people operate in different environments, like within the organizational culture, within the meeting with the board or the team meeting. What are they doing? Is there consistency with how they show up? Is there honesty within how they show up? Like, pay attention to those things before you even decide to be vulnerable. I encourage you to watch intently before opening up. Always show up as that remarkable professional because you are representing a brand, which is yourself. But watch people very closely unless you know them before you become vulnerable. I never want anyone in this room to experience anything like that because it's very, very painful. I hope that answers your question as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your question. Yes?
Hi. Is it on? Yeah. Okay. So just bringing in gender to the question because it's Women's History Month and just curious in your work life and in the spaces you're working in, do you find or have you ever experienced we are talking about being vulnerable or like speaking up, is it perceived different as a woman? Like if you were to go to HR about the problem or if you were to speak up about a problem, sometimes as women, as a woman and myself, I would feel like, oh, maybe I don't want to cause a problem. I don't want to speak up because then it comes off like me being a problem, right? Whereas I think it doesn't really cross men's mind in general, but I don't know. My question is to do you have any advice on how to, treat that, or have you experienced anything like that?
Awesome.
Oh my gosh. Yes, I worked in an environment where I was one of two Black women of leadership in a male-dominated environment. And what I learned is if there were any issues, data, documentation, logic. So if I needed to address something, I always had a log with data. I'm noticing that I'm noticing you are not inviting Dr. So-and-so to our meetings. Is there a reason why? We've had 3 within the past week, and they're crucial to this project. I'm just trying to understand what's happening. I thought we're working together as a team. So always address it with some type of data. And if you are extremely upset and frustrated, don't have the conversation that day. Allow for yourself to calm down. And when I tell you be extremely strategic and document her 5 steps, fabulous as well. But please, please, please speak from a place of logic, data that supports what you're saying. So you can never get accused of being emotional or overthinking. You're literally just pointing to data. And that is what I highly recommend. It has worked for me. I even had a man come by and accuse me of having an identity crisis because I changed up my hair 3 times within the week. Ladies, when I tell, and gentlemen,
Yeah. No, this is
and you know what?
Yeah.
My immediate response was, I have a meeting. Can you please close my door? And they're like, but I'm having a meeting. Can you please close my door? And I sat back and I tried to think of it. I was like, okay, maybe this particular man has not been around women who switch up their hair. So it might come from a place of legitimate concern, and he doesn't understand that he's being extremely offensive. And so that's when we just have moments of just reflection. Okay, let me see where this person's coming from. And then, if you care enough, educate. If not, make sure they understand that they are only to address you with personal matters. And you can do that with a smile. It works.
It works. No, I had a situation like that at work with someone. Actually, a couple of us had a situation with a coworker, and in general, what you were saying. First of all, the minute you start your job, I document everything as well. And unfortunately, we're women, and even if you're like a minority or this and that, it's like even more so. Like, it's double the work just to like make sure that like, you know, they perceive you as someone that's doing good work and all those different things. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't that way. But yeah, like I've documented everything, and in like sustainable ways too. When I say sustainable, I mean like it's not, you know, like after meetings, I have Copilot generate meeting notes for me. Like I have these different ways of just making sure that every single thing I do at work like is tracked in some way. So there's never like a way or a reason for HR or someone to be like, oh, this person isn't doing the right thing or blah, blah. So it's like, I always have data. So anyways, to the coworker story, and that your point was so good about the data, because it's like, with anything that you do at work, talking from a point of data, even if you're trying to influence people about why your idea is better than, you know, theirs, like data will always win, right? Data when it comes to like the customers, the industry, whatever it is, right? Like speak from a perspective of the data, the customer, all of that. So that applies to those situations. And the way that I addressed it was that somehow my coworker found my number, and I was like, okay, what is going on here? Why? And he was texting me like, oh, like, how's your day been? And how, you know, trying to FaceTime me. And I'm just like, I never shared my phone number with this person. I don't know how they found it. And they're actively bothering me at work and stuff. And the thing I made sure to do was, for instance, I didn't answer their texts, and I made sure to text them directly via Teams, because Teams is like our version of Zoom at Microsoft, and let them know you can only communicate with me via Teams for work matters, and do not ever text my phone number. And I made sure to say those things specifically, so if that ever gets brought up, like, it's like they texted my phone number, they did that, and I never answered. So the thing is that I don't know, and she mentioned this, Coral mentions, like, you don't talk to HR unless it's like something that, you know, actually literally like, you know, is affecting you, happened to you, and something really wrong. And I'm not here saying you should not bring things that make you uncomfortable, but I choose wisely, right? And again, I don't want people to get the wrong idea when I say that. It's like women, I advocate for women and everything, but I want you to keep your job as well.
Yeah, keep your job and your sanity.
Yeah. So that's a scenario where I still managed to advocate for myself, and that never happened again. He never did anything after that, and things stayed cordial the whole time. So it's like, that was good. That was the outcome that I wanted. So something else to think about is think about the outcome that you want. Do you want this person to stop texting you? Do you want this person to, do you not want to work with this person at all? Talk to your manager first. Maybe it's like, hey, like this work style just doesn't work for me. You come from that angle, not from the angle of like, oh, like I don't like this person. I feel like you learn all of this along the way. But yeah, if you have anything else to add.
No, this was perfect.
Yeah.
You guys were perfect.
Okay.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. I love how this session has been a lot about advocating for ourselves, about setting those boundaries, because that's something that they don't help us or don't teach us in school, and it's something that we do need to learn how to do as women in the industry and in the tech spaces. And as Samantha mentioned, we're also women in tech, and I know how you mentioned Copilot. So one of my last questions is, looking ahead in the 5 years, which emerging technology, whether it's AI, quantum computer, the metaverse, presents the biggest opportunity for women to leapfrog established hierarchies and immediately assume a position of leadership and innovation? What are the techs that you have been that are emerging right now and that you think us women should get involved?
The first thing that came to mind is GitHub Copilot. I think everyone here should have that installed on their computer right now, today, when you get home. Like, install it. I'm now doing the work of a software engineer. I'm not even a software engineer, like, at work. Like, I've submitted my first PR the other day to the GitHub database that we have, the repo. And GitHub Copilot guides you through the whole experience. I'm not trying to, like, say that Microsoft is the best. It's like, there's Claude Code, right? You can use Claude Code. It's the same idea. It helps you code, right? And it's like, now there's really no excuse to not be able to build something of your own. Like, it's like, I ask a question like, how do I submit this to GitHub? Like, how do I like make a clone of this repo? Like literally dumb questions. I ask it to do everything for me, and it helps me with that. And now I'm able to like do the work of a software engineer. So if you have any ideas or business ideas or anything that you might want to do on your own, install it, use Claude, pay for Claude. I don't know if I recommend ChatGPT. I don't recommend ChatGPT. But definitely recommend Anthropic's technologies. Create a skill, create an agent, leverage the agents that are there. That's like the new trending technology now, like using agents and leveraging skills. And skills is not just like me using that word. Skills are literally like markdown instructions that are written down, and that's what the agents follow to do work on your behalf. So like if you want to schedule a meeting, if you want to schedule an email, that sort of thing. But just saying, highly recommend you install one of those, GitHub Copilot or Claude Code, and just play with it, talk with it. It's really helpful. Yeah.
I'm gonna add on to that, as I love Claude Code, and like there's many different vibe coding tools like Emergent and Lovable, where you can find a problem in the market and immediately create a minimum viable product, which is like a small version of an application right there. I also want to add that this is not necessarily like an emerging technology, but just an emerging trend in the industry. A lot of the biggest tech companies are investing into communication and storytelling. Like we'll even see in like the ads with Claude and how they're using a lot of these styles to provoke stories and emotions, because at one point these AI tools will make it much easier to develop products. And so the main thing that companies are going to need is go-to-market distribution. I think that if you want to like really stand out, build a software product with one of these vibe coding tools, and then learn how to distribute it through content creation, through making stories online about this product, because then you will also practice your public speaking skills, your communication skills, which is like you cannot be an AI person unless we have like robots that are super, super fine tuned. I don't know if she's a robot. Are you real? You know, like I think like us humans, we've been here for a long time. We're going to be here for a long time. And so public speaking skills are going to be great. Like even if you don't become a developer, you can become like a developer advocate, where you get to speak at conferences around the world about technology. And that's you as a person. No one can fire like a person's public speaking. That public speaking is going to be here forever. So that's a skill that I would tap into. And also those vibe coding tools, they're great.
These ladies hit the nail on the head. I want to put additional emphasis on your public speaking and just a little bit of that business acumen. I have a software developing baby out there in the world. He's actually in New York, and he would come and visit me often. I was like, you're just great at just communicate. I just love this. You're fabulous. I said, consider engineering sales. And he was like, really? Me? I said, absolutely. He's making a killing in New York.
Hey.
Engineering sales. Ladies, please, please, please consider going into fields where you flourish. Lean on your strengths. They will make so much money for you.
I'm surprised you haven't mentioned Salesforce yet.
Okay. Just one company. I'm just going to throw that out there. How many of you are familiar with Andrill?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay. It's like a Lockheed Martin competitor, yet lots of defense, lots of government contract. Ladies, less than 2% of their employees are females. They actually want women to work for them. Okay? Okay, I'll say this because I have a baby. He actually left Palantir in DC. He said the culture was horrible.
Girl, they're in Miami now.
It was I'm not bashing anyone.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. His experience was not the greatest, so he pivoted, left Palantir, and went to Andrill, and he absolutely loves it. The thing that he makes a comment about is a woman's touch is needed. Like, I know that sometimes we look at different companies and think, oh my gosh, there's too many guys there. We are needed. They need diversity of thought. They need our presence. They need us to show up authentically ourselves. The comment was also made, I'm tired of girls just not being feminine. We need that. That was the comment from a guy. Software engineer. Ladies, he makes over 250K. Those roles are waiting for you too. He's only 26. I want that for you. Please consider it.
A round of applause for our speakers. Thank you, ladies, so much for sharing so much valuable insight. Like, I was taking notes all the way because the advice that you share, there are things that you don't see online. There are things that we don't see in the classrooms. So thank you so much for you guys, for your time, and for everyone for being here and listening to these amazing ladies. I just wanted to give a little announcement for the Society of Women Engineers this week in celebration of International Women's Month. We're having a full week full of events. So right now we're in Tuesday, we are having our Technical Tuesday. Tomorrow we are having a women's panel. On Thursday, we're going to a different school to do outreach, go to the community, teach little kids how to code and use Arduino and hardware. Then on Friday, we have a pie celebration to celebrate Pi Day. And on the weekend, on Saturday, we are welcoming MDC to our campus to interact with them. So if you are interested in joining any of those events, please let us know, and you can see the events on the screen. We also created a LinkedIn group chat because I have seen that a lot of these events are so empowering, but when the event ends, then you don't get your questions answered. If there was something that you wanted to ask any of our panelists, if there is one doubt that you couldn't ask maybe in this question today, or maybe you have a friend that couldn't join today but will benefit from all this information, I encourage you guys to scan this QR code. We're going to start posting information there, different resources, different advice that we have for women in tech. So I encourage you all to join, and we're going to start posting content there. And if you want to get in contact with any of our panelists, you can do so. But again, thank you all so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. One big round of applause again, please. Thank you so much, ladies,
For inspiring us, for sharing also tips on how to also succeed in the work industry. So we really appreciate your insight, your time, and then the celebration also of this beautiful month, which we celebrate the women in the world.
Thank you so much.
Just a quick reminder, TTR will continue next week. We have a session on SDG Challenge Miami, uplifting the next generation of sustainable leaders, led by Accountable Impact. So join us again next week so you can be part of that discussion. Thank you for coming, and hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, we should. So who's gonna